James Thomas there, but now to the downside to owning a new home. Cracks are starting to appear in numerous apartment and housing developments, with fresh figures showing as many as 2 in 3 homes are needing repairs after only a few years of being built. It all comes down to shoddy materials and workmanship, and it's costing owners thousands to fix, as David Richardson reports.
What you're seeing are the results of an epidemic sweeping the country. Building defects.
So where's it all coming from?
Upstairs, the top of the balcony. It's rotting all the way up to there, as you can see. Well, yeah, I don't know what to do.
Jamie Turner is at his wit's end. His $500,000 townhouse is less than 5 years old and suffering permanent damage from a building defect.
I mean, you would expect a little bit better in a block that's less than 5 years old.
That's right, that's right. Yeah, this is a disaster, really.
The problem right here. Jamie's balcony hasn't been constructed properly. Water pools, leaks into the substructure below and drips through the walls and ceilings, destroying everything in its path.
It's mind-blowing, really, yeah. The builder themselves have done nothing. You know, they haven't responded to my emails or calls or anything yet.
And Jamie's not alone. Of the 14 townhouses in his block, more than a quarter have building defects.
There's certainly some sectors of the industry that are causing that problem, that are basically ripping people off, yeah.
Structural engineer Mal Wilson is the man owners call in when they spot a defect, and what he's seen is frightening.
We're seeing buildings now, you know, I looked at recently a 7-storey building that, honestly, if a child had handed that into 10th grade, the quality of documentation, they probably would have got a C or a fail for it. It's just appalling. Some of these things that would cost, you know, a couple of $100 a unit to build properly are costing, you know, thousands and tens of thousands to fix later. And it's often, not always, but 9 times out of 10, it's the poor person the body corporate basically, who has to foot the bill.
3.5 million Australians now live in units and high-rise apartments. 4 out of 10 new dwellings being built are medium density or inner city high-rise. And with the apartment boom has come the defect epidemic.
Developers who run $2 companies have no assets. Once the development is finished, they'll wind the company up, or there are a range of ways they can make sure that the assets of the company or the director are not able to be accessed.
What protection does the owner have?
Increasingly little, and it depends a bit on the jurisdiction.
Construction lawyer Kerin is the man owners hire to chase down rogue developers to fix those defects. Too often the owners don't complain because they get nowhere. Defects are one thing, there are also new buildings that are just plain dangerous.
We've been told some new high-rises are so bad they'd come crashing down with a minor earthquake. Is that true?
There are buildings in some jurisdictions that would face that problem, yes.
People buying off the plan years ahead of completion are the most vulnerable, but without tougher government regulation across the board, the defect plague will not only continue, but get worse.
How do you fix this?
The key to it is to ensure that builders and developers remain engaged in the process, that once they sell the properties, they can't just walk away.
It's amazing what can go on in a building, you know, if it's not done properly.